You have walked past thousands of them in your life, and you have probably never noticed the disagreement. An emergency exit sign. The thing above the door at the end of every public hallway in every commercial building, glowing softly above the doorframe so you can find it in the dark. In the United States, that sign is almost always red. In Europe, almost always green. In Japan, green. In Australia, green. In Brazil, green. In China, green. The world has converged on green as the color of an exit sign almost everywhere except inside the borders of the United States. The disagreement is not aesthetic. It's two completely different chromatic philosophies, codified by two different standards bodies in the 1970s that quietly never agreed on what an exit sign is supposed to communicate. Here on the reason why. Walk through any commercial building and look at the doors. Above each one that leads out, there is a small backlit sign, a rectangle with the word exit or its translation. In a New York office tower, the sign is red. In Toronto, green. Tokyo subway, green. Frankfurt department store, green. Sydney Mall, green. The US is one of the only major industrialized nations where the default exit sign is red. Same building shape, same fire risk, same engineering problem. Answer comes out two different colors depending on which side of the ocean you're on. Start with the American story. The National Fire Protection Association, founded in 1896, writes the life safety code that every American building inspector enforces. NFPA 101 specifies evacuation, alarms, and labeling. Code Section 7.10 says exit signs must be visible from anywhere in the room, illuminated even when power fails. The 1934 original did not specify a color, only that the sign be clear. When Underwriters Laboratories started certifying exit sign hardware in the 1950s, they defaulted to red. Red was the fire alarm, the fire truck, the stop sign. Red meant emergency. Within a decade, every American building had a red exit sign. Meanwhile, the International Organization for Standardization was working on a different logic. ISO 6309 is the safety color standard published in 1976, and it assigns each color a specific meaning, not application. Red means prohibition or stop. Yellow, caution. Blue, mandatory. Green means safe condition or safe to escape. Under that schema, an exit sign is not emergency marker, it's safety marker. Marks the path out, not the danger. Therefore, the exit sign should be green, same color as a first aid station. ISO was adopted by the EU in 1992, Japan, most of Asia, Australia, Latin America. The US did not adopt because NFPA 101 was already in force. And here's where the logic flips on itself. To an American raised on red registers as emergency, sees red, looks for the door. To a European raised on green registers as safe path. Both populations evacuate successfully. Both see the cue. Both react in time. The color itself doesn't matter. What matters is everyone in a country agrees on which color. The signal works because the convention is universal within the borders that enforce it. Put an American in a German train station and watch their eyes pass over green without registering it. Put a German in Manhattan, and red reads as fire alarm. The sign communicates which standards body wrote the fire code, not geography. But here's the part that turned chromatic difference into permanent split. The American NFPA tried to add green to the code in 2003. Proposal on the table for 2 revision cycles. Failed because changing the color would have required every property owner in America to replace every existing exit sign at an industry-estimated $14 billion. NFPA ruled cost outweighed harmonization benefit. ISO and NFPA now coexist. New American facilities can choose green. The code allows either. Almost no one does. Vendors default to red, and a green sign in a sea of red reads as wrong rather than international. The interesting cases are buildings that comply with both standards. International airport terminals, global hotel chains, embassies, multinational headquarters. Walk through Dubai International Airport. Green ISO signs in the terminal, red NFPA signs in the American Airlines lounge. Walk through a Hilton in Berlin. Green corridors, but red laundry service rooms. Aircraft cabins are the loudest example. Every airliner sold to a U.S. carrier has red fasten seatbelt and exit signs. Every airliner sold to a European carrier has green. Boeing's 737 line and Renton stocks, both lighting kits, picked based on which airline is buying. So the next time you walk under an exit sign and you don't think anything of it, remember, the color is not random and not aesthetic. It is the result of two engineering committees in the 1970s reaching opposite conclusions about what an exit sign should communicate. Red means attention. React now, the way a fire alarm or a stop sign communicates. Green means safe condition. Follow this way out, the way a first aid station or an emergency assembly point communicates. Same architectural problem, opposite chromatic answer. The country you're standing in chose one logic and locked it in. Crossing a border changes the color of the sign without changing what you do when you see it. Look at the next exit sign you walk under. The color is the result of two engineering committees in the 1970s reaching opposite conclusions about what an exit sign should communicate. The American NFPA, building on a 1950s industry default that aligned with fire alarms and fire trucks and stop signs, said red emergency marker, attention grabbing, react now. The International ISO, building from first principles in a clean sheet 1976 safety color schema, said green, safe condition, safe to escape, follow this way out. Both answers solve the same problem. Both populations evacuate buildings successfully, and the color is functionally irrelevant within a country that enforces one standard consistently. But cross a border and the cognitive pattern flips. An American in Frankfurt looks past green signs that read as plant life decoration. A German in Manhattan reads red signs as fire alarm cues. The 2003 NFPA proposal to harmonize on green was killed by a $14 billion replacement cost estimate. ISO and NFPA now coexist, with the visible artifact being aircraft cabins where Boeing literally stocks both lighting kits and picks based on which airline is buying. The exit sign you walked under last week is not communicating geography. It's communicating which engineering committee wrote your country's fire code in the 1970s, ticking quietly above every doorway you have ever walked under, in a color you will never remember unless you cross a border and notice that something subtle changed. The way a tourist registers wall clock time and feels off balance the first day in a foreign time zone before the brain rebuilds its assumptions about what's normal in that direction. If this kind of small engineering decision, quietly shaping your daily life story is your speed, there is a whole channel of stories like it. The reasons behind everyday objects you have stopped questioning. Subscribe so the next one finds you and quietly lands in your feed without you having to look for it once, or remember to check or hunt through your subscriptions list.